Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome. That's Kate. Kate is the Dream Detective and has a channel link down below in the description box if you would like to check out her videos. We'd appreciate that. I'm Valerie. This is Illumination Portal, and we are talking about the secret life of energy still. There's so much to the energies that we're living in right now. And I was thinking about it this morning of how right before COVID we didn't know that that was going to come in and affect the entire world, and we had no idea. We were taken off of our energetic centers and put in this place of disbelief, really. And here we are 2 years later, and many of us are in the world is still definitely churning out energies that are helping us, guiding us, but where are we going? So how do we figure that out? I guess that's the best way. Am I saying that? Do you think I'm saying that correctly, Kate?
I do. And I have to agree with you that it's a confusing new way of being. It's a when we went in, we were all a little bit nervous about what was this new experience and would we get through? Would we get COVID? Would we have respirators? Would be in the hospital? Would we all of those questions that came up about isolation and not being able to speak to loved ones and all of that confusion really did have an impact on us staying remote and isolated. And then as we started to come out a little bit, I think that people were still nervous about how to come out, how to be safe, all of those questions. And so in many ways the opportunity to have a brand new experience for the entire planet was extraordinary.
Yeah.
And in some ways it is a I got tongue tied.
It's
That's
okay.
unusual too. in some in some ways we have to celebrate the fact that we are close to being on the other side, that what we have learned along the way is that yes, we can experience something new. Yes, we can build the strength to go with the flow instead of fighting the flow. And that three, we can survive. And that we do survive. And that in having that experience, I think there were actually so many good things that came out of it, with reconnecting, with understanding, and with providing us with a support system that many of us had never had before. And
Right.
that new support system being something that we want to hold on to now for a very long time, because it's just been incredibly wonderful.
Yeah,
It
I
just,
mean,
even though it seems scary, the fact that we're through it is a badge of honor. That's what I wanted to say. It's like you came through. You came through, and in some ways, I feel like I'm a better person. Like I'm a different person, and that is that is is good to celebrate all of those pieces that are that learning experience of being human right now with all the changes that are going on.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we did. We I mean, while we were in it, we could have never even imagined what the end result would be for us or any of our friends or our family members or the world in general. And here we are. Hi, Stephanie. Stephanie, is it? Sweetie. Nice to see you. And here we are at the end, at the other end of it, pretty much the end of it. I won't say that we're out of the woods totally, but so much has changed. And the energy, when I say the energies in this respect, I'm talking astrologically, because of that huge conjunction was what kicked off COVID. Okay, and we've gone through all that, and now we have this Saturn, Uranus, they keep squaring each other. So it's like the old guard and the new guard keep squaring and keep going back and forth. with Pluto, the United States of America's first Pluto return there, is saying, well, all those systems that are no longer working for the people, by the people, let me put it in that respect, because that's a trust thing. And integrity is, I guess the word I want to use is that Pluto's coming through going, this isn't what you said you were going to do when you started the United States of America, so we're going to fix a lot of these systems that are for the people, by the people, and more congruent and life affirming, I guess is how I'm going to say it. But anyway, we're going through this, and we'll go through this for another couple years. But last night was I know I'm trying not to jump all around on the astrology, but we had a full moon last night in Pisces, and that was a very watery, magical. It brings you in the place of imagining, what's your highest potential? Where do you want to go? What is it? Where does your heart want to lead you to? After all we've been through, and we got 6 planets in retrograde right now. So that's kind of adding to that confusion delusion, because Neptune rules Pisces, and Neptune was a big player is a big player always, but was in the full moon last night. And I woke up this morning and we're in an Aries moon. So Aries wants to go do things, get it done. Where you want to go? Hurry up, let's do it. But we can't. So everybody, I know there's a lot of people I'm talking to who are feeling stuck, myself included. Like I want to already be where I'm supposed to be, but where is that? And I think that going, yeah, where is that? After all we've been through, I think the one thing that we were shown really loud and clear was it is time to follow your heart. It's time to follow your heart. And that's kind of like what our talk is going to be about. Like, how do we follow our heart? How do we trust ourselves enough to feel into, because we're feeling this. There's no rules. There's no nothing that's here to assist us, because this is all new territory, all new energy. The only thing we have is our heart and trust and faith in the universe.
Right. So. I think that with all of those planets going in retrograde, one of my favorite things about retrograde, the word retrograde, has that R-E. Yeah. So in all things, review, refresh, reimagine, restore, relax, okay? All those things that are in flow rather than pushing flow, rather than moving the wind. We don't go outside and go, hey, wind, over here, blow this way. Well, some of us do. But take the opportunity to realize the benefit of moving with it rather than against it. So in some ways, the stars are telling us what the roadmap is. Mm-hmm. In some ways, they are pointing the way that says, renew, relax, refresh, review, all your senses, right? Take a look at all those things, become quiet, become listeners, right? And take that moment to go within and reimagine what it is you want to be doing. So in the going from a dream state into an active state, had we written it down, our dreams, had we done a painting that said, oh, this is what the world's going to look like when everybody wakes up happy, or this is my part in the whole big picture. And I think that we understand the whole big picture can be kind of unknown. It's like having the puzzle pieces backwards. It's like we don't know what the picture is supposed to look like. We only know that things fit together when they're right, they fit together. If you try and push them together, they're not going to fit right. You're going to end up with this kind of globby thing and hope the cat doesn't come over and whack it off, whack the pieces off over onto the floor. Because
And
then
that's
you get to
true.
start all over again. Yeah.
And that is so true, because this is energy that we have to just flow with it.
Yes, we do.
And as we're flowing through all of this creational magical energy and trying to do the things we need to do on a daily basis, it until I would say up until like January, like all the planets will start moving forward. A lot of would have by then, but we have eclipse season coming up, October, November. So there's still some more that needs to be cleared out as we're reimagining, relaxing, and going through these interesting energies. We also have things that are going to be removed, and when I say removed, it could be definitely in your personal life, but I think a lot of this is coming uh, as our governments, in the form of our governments and the way things have the rules and the regulations we've had to follow, which have been really unfair to the average person,
Mhm.
in my view, a lot of it throughout the world. Um, and what happens to the United States does affect the rest of the world. So we have, but my point being, we have all these energies coming from all different places. So
Mhm.
following your guidance is can going in and connecting, like Kate just said, and getting what is it that that just makes my heart smile. That gives me that joy, that space that I never even thought of before to go
Mhm.
into. Hi, Andrea, and that's unique for each of us,
Right.
this is the time though to do that, to go
Right.
in, give yourself, and don't be hard on yourself. I have a few friends of mine who are being very hard on myself. I'm hard on myself actually, and want to be this perfect whatever. Valerie's perfect life is on is now happening, but that doesn't it's not how it works. So I wanted to come on and talk about this to help me to understand it as much as all of you to understand it.
Right.
Oh, forgot to say this is a spiritual channel. And we are helping trying to help Mother Earth raise her vibration by raising our individual vibration. But
Exactly.
in doing that requires having trust and faith in the universe, having trust and faith in yourself, going in and asking yourself, or in my case, I'll just use me as an example. Do you trust yourself enough to get yourself to where this, dream of yours is? Where is that? And I do, but we have the 3D world looking at us saying, you're not, whatever, you're not following the rules here. But the rules here are changing. So we're in this flux state of being.
Exactly. It's in it as we were talking before, it's like you're in line at the roller coaster. Okay? Everybody's in line, everybody's chatting, everybody's excited, they're lining up to get on board to get into that car and take them on a thrill, take them on an exciting traveling, moving adventure that may only last, a minute or two. But we don't know what that ride looks like until we've actually gone on the ride, right? We don't know what the peaks and the valleys are going to look like. We don't know where the turns are going to go. But there's an anticipation that at the end, we're going to get off and laugh and giggle and share the memory with those that we rode with. So that roller coaster in life right now that we're presented with is really standing in line, imagining what the ride will be like, imagining how we can participate in the experience rather than waiting until the very end. so that we can high five each other and then say, "Hey, you want to do it
You
again?"
want to do it
So
again.
in taking that minute of understanding how we survive the next thing that's coming needs to be an acknowledgement that yes, we did get through something, and really honoring that and really being grateful that that happened and that we did make new changes in our lives. So to go within and understand that the secrets lie within you, that your path is connected, that your path has a destiny, it does have a place to go, and that sometimes it needs to be restored, that there needs to be a pause. You need to wait in line in
Mhm.
order to reach the place where, yes, you've learned what you needed to learn. Yes, it's the default position. It's not the, oh, someday I hope. No, it's your default. It is how you live your every moment, not just sometimes, but all the time.
Mhm.
So I would suggest that as a daily practice, we visit what is true within ourselves. We visit what we know to be true, what we know to be in love or with imagination or with hope, with all those things. Then
Mhm.
it lies within. So to
Mhm.
understand truth, because right now there's a lot going on that makes truth sound like it's truth, but it really isn't. We can talk about how to discern what's
Yeah,
in your environment is not true versus what's in your heart, which always remains true.
right.
Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense to me.
Okay.
And we're in this like great pause, right? We're in this space of, I mean, I just keep seeing like a cauldron of creation, and we're creating this whole new um, way of being, but individually creating a whole new us. Like, what did you always want to be? Because these energies, you can go and you can be that. You can really um, eh, reach for your highest dreams, for your highest goals. We have so much around us that is influencing us energetically, and there is a lot of distortion,
Mhm.
and discernment is key. That's really the only way and it's like we got to feel through it, though. It's almost like a you're feeling through it. This is a space that none of us have ever been in before, and we're all trying to make sense out of it, and a lot of it is senseless and ridiculous, and that's where going back inside every day to your heart, that doing the things that you love. I don't care what it is, as long as you're happy and it brings you joy and peace, yeah, and puts a smile on your face like that. That's all we can do right now, because it is kind of it's nothing is set in stone anymore. You know?
Well, I think there are some universal truths that are set in stone. They're
Well,
set in air, they're set in stars, they're
those are
but
that's
as
what
far as
man-made.
processes, yeah, as far as
Yeah.
human processes or the way life shoulda, coulda, woulda be, yeah,
Mhm.
that's all really flexy in
Yeah.
flex. So I
Mhm.
just wanted to ask you, when you're confronted with someone else's untruth, in other words, it's not true to you, but it's coming out as someone is sharing it with you. How do
Yeah.
you recognize that what you're hearing is not valid, at least not valid for you?
I don't know how to explain it, but I feel it. And in fact, I just had something like this occur not too long ago, and the I mean, I understand these energies are very delusional. People are believing their own lies at times, and they don't even realize it. They don't realize they're lying, or being disingenuous with themselves. And I honestly tried in every way to be very understanding, nice, seeing where they're coming from, and it was either that or say, "No, you're delusional," and I couldn't do that. I just couldn't. It's not me to say that, right? You know, you want to go on believing that, that's cool. But and it's hard because they're looking at you in the face, believing what they're saying, and you know, and especially if it's a close to you or in your vicinity, it's not easy because you can just hope that that person and pray, I send love and all that stuff, that they'll see that they're holding themselves back by not dealing with reality. Or and I'm pretty much not in reality. So if I'm saying that, I'm you know, it's not that I'm not, I am, but I like to be in my meditation space, dealing with my crystals, doing what I love, talking to my friends, and that was a huge blessing during the last couple of years, where we met so many like-minded people. We get together, we have these chats and do these fun things, but it's hard to say, I'm not here to tell anybody how to be. But when
Right.
I do understand that you're not telling the truth, that's a hard one.
It
You
is
know,
a hard one. Yeah. I think that in the current or the past several years,
mm,
the reality is that there was someone used to only understanding deception. That was where they thrived. They wouldn't know truth if it slapped them, and
mm,
then having that microphone of saying, lie, 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 deceive, 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 distract, distract, that in that power activated the deceit, the disruption, the lying to those people who always had that same type of communication around them, so that they were like, oh yeah, I can relate, because that's the only thing they understood as well. Doesn't everybody lie? Doesn't everybody cheat? Doesn't everybody steal? Doesn't everybody want to come ahead, and doesn't everybody want to grab power? Okay, so
mhm,
in that existed energy, which gratefully is slowly dissipating, is slowly ebbing back, is slowly the tides are moving back in a way so that truth and light can come through and push through
mhm.
and become real through real action. I think that it's very, very discerning for us to be in a state of neutrality. And maybe that's the retrograde right word, is neutral.
Yeah.
To feed ourselves knowing that we need to stay steady, that we need to stay grounded, that we need to validate and understand our truth, so that our truth shines, so that our truth overwhelms what isn't true.
True.
And
Yeah.
that is a really difficult thing to try and make a difference in. And all I can say about that is that we all are made and are doing exactly what we were made to do. So,
Yeah.
in some ways, we don't have to always understand how it works. We
Yeah.
just need to know that we're putting it out there and that we're supporting truth in the ways that we know it to be real. So, as an example, I enjoy watching YouTube videos, and the algorithm that'll send you videos of similar things that you're always watching, or hey, you liked this one, maybe you'll like that one.
Mhm.
So what we've started doing is just reading the headline. We don't need to click on the whole video. We don't need to hear the debate. We don't need to hear the argument. We don't need to know who's pushing harder, who's back in their corner, and when is that bell going to ring? When are they
Mhm.
going to come out fighting again? Okay.
Mhm.
We just need to know the highlights or just the headlines. So that seems to make our day a lot more peaceful, so that
Oh,
we can just shine and do what we need to do in the day with the people that we need to meet, and the interactions that we have in conversations over the phone, or like this with YouTube, or just making us be more centered and relaxed around the fact that that is the battle happening out there. It doesn't have to be happening inside.
wow.
And
And it's a huge battle too, though, isn't it? I mean,
it is.
we've been confronted with this
Yeah,
deception,
yeah,
delusional, person for quite a while. And
Right. Even in talking about him brings that power to him.
right, and
So,
I try not to. Right, I see what you're
yeah.
saying, but I
But bring
feel for the people who fell for it, though, and
yes.
that are continuously falling for it and backing him, where he wouldn't give them the time of day,
That's
if
right.
ever.
It is a heartbreaking realization that what you thought was real really isn't. So
Yeah.
there again, what is truth and what is not?
Mm.
And there may be those that never understand it, and that's their journey right now. But for me, the signs when I'm hearing something that I know of to not be truth, is my body actually starts giving me signals. My tummy will start doing little somersaults or gurgling really loudly, like, wait a minute, what's that? What's going on there? Or my eye will start to twitch, or my head will really hurt, and it's
Wow.
almost my body's way of removing me from the deception. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like it's creating its own physical issue so that I am not confronted with whatever that falsehood is that's coming at me. And I think that's just from years of having tons and tons of interactions with all different kinds of people in
Mhm.
the position, the job that I had on a daily basis. But I also think that there is a real yearning for that truth to become real, for the understanding of what these processes are, and in validating our own truth, and in staying in our own truth, and in practicing it and living it, that is the energy we're putting out into the world, that we are truth. You know how we say, I am
Mhm.
love, I am
Mhm.
peace, I am
Mhm.
truth.
I
So
am.
we put that back into the universe, into the cauldron. We
Mhm.
let the winds carry it away, and know and trust. There's that truth word again.
Mhm.
Trust that there are more powerful forces happening for us so that we can be successful in overriding what was not real or truthful.
Right,
So,
and it brings us back to last week when we were discussing, so what we are putting out there, emanating, what we are receiving back. And oh, I was going to say, well, it's hard that with the external, with watching what's going on, knowing that it's playing out on a huge, massive scale. And how many of us know the truth, of that situation? And we're watching it, sending it love, trying not to get angry, like you said, because that just makes it grow. So we're not
mhm.
pay attention to it, and but not have your head in the sand either, right? To constantly be aware of what's the next distortion being exposed to us, and like you said, reading that one headline, that's enough. I got the information. I don't need to hear you debate about it till uh, I just don't even know the media
Yeah.
can go on and on.
Exactly, exactly. There is a universal statement, a statement that says, for all that we dream and all that we create and all that we want and all that we desire, the universal truth is we already have everything we need.
Mhm.
So allowing the universe to unlock those gifts at the perfect timing, at the right place and the right time, is that pause, is that reflection, the review, right? It is the pause before the next step. And I know the energies are wanting some sort of action, but maybe the action is something that brings us inside, something that brings us to our thoughts and our dreams and our imagination, in
Mhm.
creating new ideas and new ways of thinking about how to move
Mhm.
forward. Just the fact that we've lived through something extraordinary, right? Everybody's lived through this extraordinary last few years, right?
Yeah.
Now we're taking this little break, which sort of is a break, which isn't really a break, but at least we know we've survived. And what's the next step? Okay, if that's our bottom prong that we're stepping on, the bottom step that we're stepping on, then what's the next one coming?
Right.
And having that understanding that we are learning and uncovering and discovering all kinds of new tools and new ways of communicating, new ways of experiencing life, that we can become ready, maybe a little bit more ready to face
Mhm.
the roller coaster ride, the next roller coaster ride
Mhm.
that's probably going to be there.
Yeah,
Usually life doesn't just give you one step and you're like, okay, good, cool, I'm done.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
there are levels.
Yeah,
There are levels to this, right? And so having that understanding, having that knowing that things repeat, that things repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat until we get them right, until everybody gets them right,
and
or until the next thing needs to move in.
right. And don't you think that also these energies now being on the other side of it, and and energy to me feels lighter. It does feel a lot lighter, and it's easier for me. Like when you ask me how do I know when someone's not telling the truth? I've always, because I was in the customer service business as you were, I just always felt it. It would be like a energy hit to my energy. Like, no, no, there's something off here, you know. And I never, I would always try to give people the benefit of the doubt
Right,
and go through it like that and be diplomatic as I could. And I had to in a lot of ways because I was working, you know. Um,
right,
but it's a feeling thing for me, just energy hitting me. But we're also watching that in the external, like how the energies are going and molding into it. And we're creating all new ways of being. It's really cool. We're at this space and time where the old is being kind of flushed out, the new is being created, and we have these. Oh, we have so many intelligent people on the planet that are creating these fascinating, all types of things. You name it, from A to Z, or helping Mother Earth heal. And I know we have a far, long way to go. I'm not trying to say that that's going to happen immediately, but there's people who are creating these new ways of being, you know,
yeah,
in
right,
these energies right now.
right. They're imagining the possibilities. You
Hmm.
know, what we used to think of like with the science fiction stuff, or even with, the dreamers that say, no, that we can learn from what we've already been through and take that with us so that we can make better decisions, better choices, have different options, have multiple options. As
Right.
long as there are hearts on the planet that love, anything is possible and
Yeah.
everything is possible. So it's like it's a difficult time to get through, and it's important to maintain what we learned about the last few years, to hold on to our own personal truth, our own personal experiences that say, yes, this is what's real. This is what's real for me. This is
Mhm.
what's real. And I want to share it with you because it gave me comfort, or it gave me inspiration, or it gave me a new way of thinking and hoping that I didn't have before COVID. And who
Right.
would think that imagine that amazing, wonderful things could come out of something that was so hard, right? It was so hard for everybody. But
Yeah.
I think that that universal truth that we have already what we need, that our truth is
Yeah.
there, that it is there for us to decipher and for us to slow down and take a look at. And being diplomatic is absolutely the right choice because I know for me, I don't want to get in a um,
Confrontation
a
with
confrontation
anyone.
that just stirs it back up again.
Yeah.
The inclusive part of including everyone, the part of letting everyone know they have purpose. They all have purpose. Everyone does.
They do.
So,
Yeah.
in order to understand what those are, though, we really do have to go within. And that within moment or practice is each person is individual. And you could even make it into a game. Okay, I'm going to try this for a week and see what happens. Or I'm
That's
going to try that for a week and see what happens, and see
right.
how it all changes. See how things become lighter and sillier and funnier and
Mhm.
surprising, right?
Mhm. Yeah, because once you relax into it and make it enjoyable, it it seems to bring you even more information and more ways of going about it that way. Going
Absolutely.
going into it as like a playful thing instead of, oh, this is dead serious. Like we have a real serious thing coming up in November, which is kind of gonna say this is the people speaking, right? And the people are going to go one way or another with that. And no matter what way that is, we still have to come in and be good within ourselves. I
Yes.
I want to say, please, everybody, go and vote, 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 vote for the only way to vote, in my opinion, is the blue wave. There's no getting around it now. It's become ridiculous on the other end of it. It's just I can't even believe that as a nation we are having to really look at people who want to take the rights of the rest of us away
Right.
because they don't, they're not getting their way or whatever. But I do think that the majority of us that do vote will be out there voting, and that's going to kind of settle that. And I think once that passes, it's gonna it's gonna kind of even calm things down a bit more, so we can all go into focusing continuously focusing on how to create this better existence on this planet right now for all, not just, but like you said, everybody does have a role. I don't might not agree with it, but I don't have to focus on whatever I deem is not right with them either. Now,
Right.
when it comes to what's coming up in November, that kind of to me is a no-brainer. I refuse to give up any of my rights as a American, as a human being, as a female, and I have faith that the rest of our nation, most of it, will vote that way. They don't want to give up their rights and their these things we've been afforded since we were born. Before we were born, we grew up with rights, and to
Right.
have them taken away now is by a few people who are angry is part of what's going on astrologically on the big picture,
Right.
and is going to be in our face for a little while longer. It's been there quite a while already. We're exhausted. Many of us are exhausted from that.
I know.
So,
I think there's a feeling of everyone wanting to just, go somewhere for a vacation.
yeah,
And we did, when we were in lockdown, we're all dreaming about the beach. We're dreaming about, going skiing or or even the carnival. I mean, just something, right?
right.
Just something to refresh and restore. And I think that yearning, that longing for the refreshment is an opportunity to find new ways to do that. How
Mhm.
do we find new ways of restoring ourselves back to a place where we feel like when it is time to move, we can. When it is time to take that next step, we can, because we have the strength, because we have the tenacity, and we have the heart to lead us in that direction that we want things to go in. And I think sometimes too that when we hear about things that we think might be on their way out or being, questioned as whether or not they're valid and need to remain in humanity, that is an indicator for us to sit down and write down why. Why do you want that to stay? What is it about that point? What is it about that right that is precious and that is part of who you believe is in your own character? Why? and then put those explanations out into the universe so that they have an ear to fall on. Because many may not understand that there are reasons for having those rights and reasons for having individual humanity, foundational aspects of being in community and for everyone, that others may not even understand that. But in writing it down, in thinking about it, and then in just sending it out to the universe for everyone to understand why it's important to you. What is it that it triggers? Where's the trigger? And then you've made your stand without actually having to go to a
Yeah,
without
like
having
the arcade
oh,
about it.
yeah, you don't need to go there and get arrested or
Yeah, right.
whatever.
I
So,
mean,
it's there are different ways, more magical ways of participating. And the fact that we're not scientists or that we are not architects or engineers doesn't mean that what our purpose is isn't equally as important. It is. It is. Our job is to follow what we are here for in whatever way that is.
mhm,
And that has purpose, right? So the fact that you and I are sitting here having a conversation about trying to make things better and trying to understand truth and trying to understand how to make that a priority and something to stand up for and say, yes, we want this. We want this because this is the highest good, because this is where everyone matters. This is where we all have purpose. If we go the other way, there's only a few. Why would we want only a few? We want all.
haven't we done that for thousands of years before, where it was just a few who had anything?
Absolutely.
And this is what, well, let's put in there, truth in our education system, because that needs to be worked on first and foremost. If we have people that are in our population that would rejoice in taking another's right away for anything, you got to wonder, don't they see that those same rights are being taken away from them and their family members? And I I don't know where the critical thinking skills are, and are they being taught?
I don't think I don't think it's about thinking. I think it's about belonging and believing in an alternate power,
Mm,
and a power that
few,
they
for the
can
few.
feel a part of. Yeah. That they feel like that's powerful, that has meaning, that whatever they want to do, they can,
But they
ram.
wouldn't even be a part of that few. They would
Yeah,
be nothing to that few.
right.
That's what blows my mind. It's like, can't you see that you are, if you're not as wealthy and as powerful as these people, they're just using you as a pawn.
That's
Not,
true.
and
Yeah, I believe that too. Yeah,
yeah,
I
and
believe
that's
that.
something that they need to learn how to discern, that they're being taken advantage of. They're not even seeing it.
Well, and again, their journey is their journey. So
Yeah,
it's kind of like,
yeah,
remember that old joke where the person was in a flood and they were up on top of the roof and they were praying to God, God, send me some help. And, a boat floats by and they say, hey, come on, get on. He's, no, 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 it's okay. God's going to save me. Okay.
mhm,
And then a few minutes later, a bigger boat comes by and, this time they stop and they anchor up and they put a ladder up to the roof and they say, come on, get on board. Come down the ladder. We'll take you away from the water. And then the
mhm.
third time, it's a helicopter. And this time the helicopter is dropping the ladder down onto the roof. Come on, climb up. We'll carry you away to ground that's dry. No, 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 no. It's okay. God's gonna save me. And then of course the water rises and he dies and goes to heaven and says, why didn't you save me? and God says, are you kidding? I brought three different rescuers to your door and you didn't take either one. So
Yeah.
in that joke, which unfortunately, with all the floods and fires that are going on right now, is probably not very apropos. But in that joke is a message of trusting that we have to do this together. That
Mhm.
there are reasons we are connecting to who we are connecting to. That
Oh,
those are not just random connections. Those are connections from the universe, from God, from Gaia, however you want to word it. But those connections have power, have answers, have a safety to discuss, have a safety net that says it's safe to look at these different options. Let's talk about them. Let's dream about them. Let's see what happens when we combine our energies and our intentions, and see what happens as a result. And then be excited and mesmerized by how wonderful it can be.
I know, because
So,
spirit always comes in, right? Spirit always
yeah,
comes in and gives you those options. And uh, like you said, unfortunately, some don't see that. Don't,
right.
and
Not this time, maybe not this time. But
right, but I
it is
think, go ahead.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I don't think people who aren't aren't connected, that can't seem to connect inside of themselves, to their heart, to their spirit, and that's that's the feeling I get from these people who would soon as give up their rights as well as yours
Mhm.
for something that isn't even caring about them in the least bit, and I lost my thought. Go ahead.
That's okay. There'll always Yeah, there will always be those that wanna follow, and there's always be those that want to lead, or that want to gather, right? To gather the information together, to share the information with each other, to rejoice in community, right? It is, it is a luxury to involve your neighbors, your friends, your family. It's a luxury to have those connections be uplifting and become positive, because I think for a lot of these people, they don't have any of those positive experiences with community, with connection, with feeling like they have purpose. And so when somebody reaches out and says, "Hey, come on my bandwagon. There's room for the wealthy. I'll take your money.
Yeah,
I'll show you how to do this."
I
You know,
know.
and, when they understand, the only thing they understand is the deception, and they only understand the lie.
And
Because
you made a good point on that, because they are that way. They
they
like,
really
they're
are.
just they're deceptive. They don't deal in truth. They don't deal in unconditional love, and it's okay to step on each other to get to a higher spot on the ladder, and it's just I know I've been around for a while. You have too. I'm just sick of seeing it. I'm sick of it. And I don't want to go into, oh, poor us, poor me. But it's this is the splitting the energies that I always talk about, where we're like third dimension and higher, and in the middle is this chaos, right? And in this chaos, the old guard wants to stay in charge and keep going on the way it was, and those of us that are releasing from that mentality are going, no, why would can't you see this is so much nicer up here in this higher
The party's upstairs.
come on.
The
Yeah,
party's upstairs.
right.
They don't, and they won't,
No.
because the vibrational chaos that you're talking about, that that banging of firing and misfiring, and light reflects back. So when they're firing at us, it's actually coming back and hitting them.
Yeah, it is.
So it's like they in some circumstances, I think it's not going to sink in. It's not going to. And yet the only thing I think that can change a heart is love. I think the only thing that can transform a situation like this, where you are talking about duality in light spectrum, the only
Right.
thing that can change that, in my opinion, is love.
Yeah.
So in our own private ways, and in our own community ways, and in our own family ways, of sharing that love, of expressing that love, and combating it in the 10-minute argument, or in the 15-minute of frustration, or whatever. When that love overpowers it, you have changed and shifted the universe, because all
Yeah.
of those things are flowing in that universe, and all flowing to each other. flowing back and forth, right? So
Mhm.
it is our own biggest, most powerful tool in the toolbox. It's our most
Yeah,
powerful. It's our weapon. It's our compass. It's our answer book. You know,
yeah.
it's our,
Look at
it's our
love.
it's our cheat sheet.
And people just look at you though. They throw love at it, and I'm like, that's the only thing that is going to interrupt all that static going on over there. It
Right.
doesn't respond. I mean, you can make it bigger by throwing hate and discontent and all your anger at it, but it just grows it. And
Then it
once you
just
send, right, you send love to it, and it goes. It doesn't even know what hit it. It's like, what was that? It gets angry, yeah, but I mean, it takes a while to break through those barriers of complete. I wouldn't even. Yeah, I don't want to say it's hate, but they really don't have any compassion. If you want to see people hungry and starving and homeless, I can't go there with you. I don't understand that.
right.
And
Yeah.
and it's these are your neighbors and your fellow countrymen and women. I mean, really? And you think that's the best way to proceed? Well, we have a better way, and that is what's unfolding. I
Right.
really believe that. In the next couple of years, we will see such a huge difference because we will be out of that chaotic state of the third and fifth. I mean, there's probably still going to be some, but I see there's more of that heart centered, higher vibrational energies that are, you know, life affirming for all. We all
Right.
deserve to
Right.
have shelter and water and food and the basic necessities. That shouldn't even. I saw a thing yesterday about the competition of buying property to rent it at a higher rate or sell it at a higher rate. I mean, where did that even come from? Where was the everything? I guess everything's for sale as it stands now, and that's being molded, and hopefully that goes to the wayside with the third dimension. You know what I mean? But we are going so much further ahead than that there's everybody deserves life. Kids deserve an actual education. um I get frustrated. I'm sorry. My mind was going into all the things that need
Things-
fixed, knowing that they are being fixed and they are being challenged and everything is going to be okay. And I, I say we're going to see that the light of that in the next couple of years. I'm not saying it's going to be, oh, it's just all perfect now. I'm not saying that. But we're in this space where we can, by our energy, by our thoughts, beliefs, and feelings, say, I see a world that everybody is cared for. We can put that energy out there, and
Right.
that is, we're creating. We don't even have to leave our room. We can sit here and focus on that, meditate on it, and we pour that energy out there, and it goes in and it meets an energy like it, and it just keeps traveling and traveling and going on. And create.
But yeah, and it is what we can do. We do what we can do.
Exactly.
And then in remembering that we are sending out something, we always bring something back in.
Yeah.
So as we put out comes back to us, as
Yeah.
as we refocus and we recenter and we come from a place of neutrality and peace, that is also what is happening, what we're the vibe that we're giving to the rest of the world
Right.
is neutrality and peace. So, if we think about how long it took us to learn even a little bit of what we know. I mean,
Right.
we only know a little bit, right? I
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like I'm still in the introduction to the book. so, so I'm like, okay, is
Right.
is this the first chapter that says, okay, how to regroup, how to reduce, how to
Sure.
revisit, the relaxation, the rejuvenation, the restoration, all of those things. If that's what this is for this time period, then that's where the flow and my knowing that that's where I need to go is just acknowledging. Oh, by the way, rainbow Randy glasses. Now I can actually read the chapter. It's a good thing. It's a really good thing. And no, we're not sponsored by Randy Rainbow. But
Yeah.
no, but what I was trying to explain was that in our minds, in our humanness, we want to have chapters, we want to have projected amount of time, we want to have that 90-day grace period before our paycheck increases and our job becomes, all of those things are very, very different now. All of those
Mm,
things are
they
questions.
really are.
And yeah,
Yes, they really
and
are. People,
in a lot of ways they're made better
yeah.
because employees now have a chance to say, hey, I'm more comfortable part-time at home, part-time in the office, or
Mhm.
whatever their negotiation piece is in becoming productive, for the goal of the company. But we wouldn't have thought that. I wouldn't have thought that was possible 10 years ago. I wouldn't have thought that, that you could show up to work in blue jeans and tennis shoes and it would be cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how much money I spent on nylons that
Right.
half the time didn't even last a week. Right?
Right.
I'm like, I want my money back. Where do
Right.
I sign up for getting a refund for all the nylons that snagged
And
and ran?
that's actually only
Oh
a
my
couple
gosh.
years ago. We didn't even know that this was all of a sudden everything could be done at home. School, you're doing homeschool, you're working from home, everything just flipped, right? And it was like, what? It
Yeah.
like, and then, okay, after all this time, right, and these people are comfortable working from home or comfortable going to school from home, and I think that is an option now in most schools. If the
Yep.
if the kid wants to stay home and work, learn, they can. But a lot of these companies are like, no, you have to come back, and the people are like, why? Everything's going good from here, but
Right.
that is in flux also, right? All of this is in flux and it's working its way out and it is going to create this more adaptable. Well, we had to be adaptable. We're an adaptable society now and it's got to be a give and take, right, for everybody involved, not
No,
just
in understanding all of the wonderful things that came out of the experience of COVID, there is a level of hope there. There is
yeah.
a level of understanding that as things progress and as things change, that they can and often do change for the better when we work together, when we are connected, when we can share our creative ideas or what's working, what's not working even in order for the ones that have the idea pop in and make the solution be okay. So
Mm,
even in looking back, reviewing what has happened, take credit, put it, pat yourself on the back that you are through the other side, well, pretty well, and that the things that you have learned have meaning and that they're important and that they will also be, little foundational pieces that we'll take with us that say, yeah, I got through that. Yeah, I'm willing for the next step to see where this is going to go. I'm in the line at the roller coaster.
I mean, seriously, look at the resilience that we all had and we all came together, right, and we
Yes.
all made it happen and we got through it and we're stronger for it. It was terrifying. It was every emotion across the board on
Right. Right. I
full
think that
blast.
one of the biggest ones was loneliness, the lonely. It was the longing for the connection again. And understanding now, we understand that we still can have that connection,
Yeah.
even if it is through the computer. It's still there. It's still alive. It still, you know, gets everything going and sparks all that creativity. And so, there are reasons to look back and go, yes, it's okay. I
Mhm.
learned. I'm better. I'm stronger. I'm more resilient. I'm more open to new and wonderful ideas.
And
And and I can have a new truth.
yes, and that's opening up. That's opening up because that was the catalyst, right? And here
Yes.
we're coming out and we're kind of like have sea legs, right? And we're kind of wobbling. And we're trying to figure out where is it and where am I going? What am I doing? How's the world around me gonna be, especially the next couple months. And that's gonna be interesting to see. But again, no matter what goes on out there, you have to trust yourself and know that we're gonna pull through this and be okay. And even more than okay. We're at this beautiful time in history where we can create the life we want to create, right?
Yes.
Look,
Yes.
it doesn't take much to go on, talk to your friends. I mean, COVID loneliness, I get a lot of people had that, but that's how I met people. I was
Mhm.
lonely before COVID, or
Right.
didn't
Right.
know that many people, and then started conversing with people on Zoom calls and stuff, and it was just beautiful,
It
I
is
learned.
beautiful and relaxed. It was relaxed and somewhat easy, right? So learning a new thing, accepting it as being real, and being grateful that that experience did provide lots of really interesting, wonderful, new tools for humanity, I think.
It really did. And we have so much. We're going to continue this, secret life of energy and what that means because every day, honestly, is a new energy is hitting the planet. The solar flares, the sun's doing things, the planets going retrograde, the moon in different signs. So, and each time the sun and the moon go around and click and hit those planets, it it turns on a light switch,
Mhm.
so there's
Mhm.
more to be discovered every day. And that's just half of it. The other half is what do we do with that energy that's coming and hitting our planet, right? And I mean, to me, the sky's the limit. I mean, yeah,
Well, it
you
kinda
know,
has to be.
so we have so much at our disposal, and we can go anyway. And we will continue to talk about these types of energies and what's going on. But I guess today's topic, we really wanted to get into self trust,
Mhm.
right?
Yep, and it's there. It's
And it
there
is.
if we tap into it. Yeah, it's there. It may look a little different than what we thought it was gonna be when we got to this point in our lives, but that doesn't mean it isn't as powerful, more
Right.
beautiful, more expansive,
It,
more creative in ways that we didn't realize could be there.
it's
So
really cool.
I'm just so grateful for you, Valerie, because
Ah,
you open up the conversation and allow a dialogue to happen. And, I know that for both of us, that we hope it sparks creativity and inspiration for those watching whenever they're watching. That they should pat themselves on the back and that hope does exist and that creative solutions are there when we come together. And that
yeah,
truth will always be at the center of your heart.
yeah, it will. And if you have any questions, please get a hold of us because if you're stuck and can't get out to your heart for some reason, we'd be glad to help you. But really, everybody really should give themselves a huge, big hug, pat on the back. What we've been through, it's been unbelievable what we've been through, but we're getting through it, and we're
We're
coming
getting
on.
through it.
Yeah, and
Just
you can.
remember Just
Go ahead.
remember the party's upstairs.
Yeah, yeah. You can tap into it. You can. That's all I was just gonna say. You can tap into your heart's desire. All you gotta do is
Absolutely.
believe, have faith, and trust in yourself and the universe, and you can't go wrong.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you, Kate, for coming by and
And I
hanging out with
appreciate
me.
you, Val. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, honey. It's
All right.
always so much fun.
It is, and I'm so grateful. Thank you, everyone. We love you, and we'll see you on the next show.
Bye.
Bye. I can find it.